This is the voice of Killer Cross, and right about now, we are about to take it to the max.
This is the pretty badass Kelly Klein telling you to turn it to 11 and take it to the max.
Hey everybody, it's the interview queen Alicia Atute here, and you are currently listening to the Max Wrestling Podcast. It's time to take it to the max.
What's up, everybody? This is AJ Kirsch, one half of the MLW commentary team, and you're listening to the Max Wrestling Podcast. It's time to take it to the max.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Madhouse.
Hey, this is the charismatic enigma, Jeff Hardy. Welcome to the Madhouse.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Max Wrestling in the Hot Seat. I am your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me today is one of my favorite people, one of the most creative people I know, and one of my favorite opponents to go against, the one, the only, Mr. Robert Davis. Robert Davis, how you doing today?
I am doing fine, Mr. Larkin. How are you, sir?
I am okay, making the most out of it, man. I gotta say, not to spoil it to anybody, but people, it's been a crappy week for professional wrestling, from Hana Kimura, from Shad Gaspard. If you want to take away from the sadness that we've had, the hero that is Shad and the beautiful soul that is Hana, watch you some AEW to put a smile on your face, because last night's pay-per-view was lit. It was comedy. It was entertaining. It was fun. We got to see the debut of Brian Cage. Not to spoil it for anybody, but if you've not seen it, go out of your way to watch AEW Double or Nothing, man. Cody Rhodes is the new TNT champion. Great action from top to bottom. I know you can concur with me on that.
My God, what a show! I mean, it was great all around.
Well, you see Matt Hardy as version 1 in the matter of fact, and
The matter of fact, that was great.
It was like, people go out of your way to watch AEW Double or Nothing, and congratulations are in order to your opponent at Trivia Takeover, which we'll get into on this show. As we're recording this, it is Sunday, May 24th, and we have a new Max Wrestling Predictions champion, and his name is Travis the Walker Anderson. The first champ was our boy Chad James, and then Chad loses it directly right after the last PPV. And boom, yeah, right after Money in the Bank, we go into AEW Double or Nothing, and now Travis has won his second championship in Max Wrestling history. So we'll both say congratulations to the new Max Wrestling Predictions champion, Travis the Walker Anderson.
Congratulations. Don't we got another pay-per-view before that? We got In Your House NXT.
Yeah. Oh my God, Daz reminded me of this because he's like, Mike, are you so excited for the greatest wrestling match ever? And I'm like, shut up. Shut up. We'll get into that. But no, man, we got In Your House right now, which is highlighted by Charlotte versus Io versus Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship, and the debut of Karrion Kross, his takeover debut versus Tommaso Ciampa. It's the Killer Kross. It's the killer against the psycho killer. So it's going to be a very interesting takeover. I cannot wait for it.
Yeah, that one should be pretty exciting. I mean, it's definitely cool to see Cross in NXT.
Oh my God, from the entrance, from the overall, just everything, the overall presentation of his character, he's been great. And then here's the thing, I can't keep up with all these shows because then it's June 14th, and then we got the Backlash pay-per-view, which right now it's Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley for the WWE title, Braun Strowman versus The Miz and Morrison in a handicap match for the Universal title. We got Asuka against either Charlotte, Nia Jax, or Natalia, which I think we all know who Asuka's going to face. And we got Edge versus Randy Orton in the greatest wrestling match ever, which I'm like, here's what pisses me off about that. Like, I've seen Edge and Randy Orton. Watch the Vengeance 2004 match where Edge beat Randy Orton for the Intercontinental title. Great feud. But the greatest wrestling match ever? No.
Yeah, there's a good chance that's probably not going to be it. Charlotte seems pretty busy lately, man. She's cleaning house on all 3 shows.
Yeah, I think we were joking about this. You were saying Charlotte Reigns, but I'm just like, you know what it is? She's not a bad talent. And I mean, she works her ass off, but it's like the X-Pac heat. It's like the go away heat. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm tired of seeing Charlotte on all goddamn brands.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's very exciting times for professional wrestling. Exciting times of what we're doing in Max Wrestling. We got the promo league right now. Dude, here's what's funny about the promo league. And we're going to talk about your promos in a sec here. But, dude, what do you think? Because Moses Marquez is currently the #1 contender for the Demoness at Trivia Takeover for the promo title. Moses Marquez is number one, defeating Amir Blackman Costello. He beat the 80 AT wrestlers who he beat. So it's one of those things where you get Moses at the top now, but Brittany Savage is coming close because this week we saw Brittany Savage versus Mike Jolly. If Brittany beats Mike Jolly, and this coming week we have Brittany versus Corey, uh, man, if she beats Mike Jolly and Cypher, then Brittany would be the number one contender. So I got to ask you to start in the promo league realm. Are you looking more forward to seeing Nicola versus El Jefe, which would be Moses' second shot at the promo championship? Or would you like to see, for the first time ever, a female bout for the promo title and female bout ever in Max Wrestling being between Nicola McDonald, the Demoness? I come to caress. She'll take your soul, put you in a hole against the Savage that is Brittany Savage. What's your take, Robert?
I think there would be something special about seeing the first ever, all female bout being for the promo championship as well. I think that would be, something really cool. Something definitely to be a part of and to have witnessed. That would be great. Um, and if Moses does happen to hold on to that spot, I think that would be great too. I think he's come so far with his character. Like I had made mention the last time we talked, when he created the El Jefe character, he took a negative situation and turned it into something positive for him. So I think that would be fun to see what he can do against the Demoness.
100% agreed. And I mean, it's one of those things where he comes back from 9%, but we've always beat him up for being Mr. 9%. He comes from back in that with the King of the Mic, and then we see what he does with the Crippler character, kind of like an homage type of deal to Taz, and really an extension of him from his wrestling days. And then we get to see, here's the thing that always got me, and I think you can agree. Moses wanting to retire after losing to Chris Maldonado in the promo climax too. I'm like, nah, dude. And then Travis beats me, and then we get Travis and Moses for the promo title. And yeah, man, Moses debuts the El Jefe character. I was intrigued, I was interested, and I enjoyed it. I don't know if it shook the world, but okay. Anyway, it's one of those, and we'll talk about that later. But it's one of those things where I think he's come a long way, like you mentioned. And if it's him and the Demoness, I come to caress. I'll take your soul, put you in a hole, because I love saying that. We got Nicola McDonald, who also has come a long way from her inception in the promo climax too in November to where she is at now as the promo champion. We have that dynamic of Moses, who used to be scared to death and was afraid that Nicola would haunt his dreams if he didn't vote for her, to now this El Jefe thing. I think it's going to be very interesting if it winds up being Moses. Now, Brittany Savage, who is from the business, I mean, former professional wrestler, retired, is happy. She's a great mom. She has a beautiful daughter named Brooke. It's one of those things where she's having fun. And I think, as you can see, here's what I love. She's using props like, man, that promo was a minute and a half, and I was hooked just because, Jolly Ranchers, Mike Jolly, you got to love the puns, brother.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely creative, and I think she does bring something special to the table. I think it's going to force a lot of us to step our game up because we want to be able to put out the best product possible.
Oh, of course. And I also look at it like this. If you want to go dark side, I mean, Brittany Savage has wrestled Sue Young before, but then again, this is when Sue Young was before she was an undead bride. But I mean, she's been in there with an undead bride named Sue Young during her shine days. So I think Brittany can channel her inner dark side. I mean, she's got the sass, she's bougie, as we saw in her last promo, but I think she can take it up a notch. And I think Nicola is one of the perfect and best opponents to go against. And like I said, we talked about her transition and her growth as the promo champion, as a competitor overall. I think it's great. And speaking of trivia takeover, you got a bout against Travis the Walker Anderson. Dude, first and foremost, how you feeling, man? Because I know you've been feeling under the weather at points. How you feeling now? You good?
Yeah, actually, I feel pretty good. I got to talk to my doctor, and we just kind of went through an in-depth kind of look at like my health problems over the last couple of years, and I only laughed because that list was about a mile long, and she was just kind of like, "All right, dude, if you want to stay healthy, you need to do this, 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 and this, and whatever you were doing during this time frame, you need to do that about 2 times better." So, I kind of more or less got a game plan now of, getting my health in check to where it needs to be. Because, I, just had a birthday a couple of weeks ago. I'm not a spry 25-year-old anymore. I'm a sore 35-year-old now. So I got to take care of the body.
Ah, dude, I want to see you healthy and well. And the whole thing with me is I look at it like this because I've had problems with my weight as well. It's one of those things. I went to the doctor. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not as I was. I have gained some weight, but apparently I was. You know what it was? I was kind of shocked because it's like, man, you know what you're doing with your body. And here's the thing: as someone who's never drank, someone who's never smoked, food is love to me, man. I also got that Italian in me too, manja, if you know what I'm saying. Mama
Hey,
Mia tutti frutti. It's one of those things, dude, where it's like, it's food, you gobble on it. It's not necessarily a depression thing, but man, once you love some good food, the whole nine, I think you know where I'm going with this. It's one of those things, man, where you just can't you can't shut your mouth. You can't shut the jaws from eating, you know what I'm saying, and consuming all that food. So when she's like, "Oh, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it," I'm like, "Are you sure about that? Because all I've been doing is like eating." I'm like, "All right, I'll take it." But hey, I must be doing something right. But I digress. Health problems aside, here, it's one of those things where, man, you got to feel good. You got to feel life. You got to have that whole aura about you, man. That overall feeling that makes you just want to keep on keeping on and kicking ass. And for me, I'm happy for you because I know you've gone through a lot. So I got to say, on that front, much sincerity and respect and love to you on that aspect.
oh, thank you, sir. It's been a tough uphill battle, but you got to keep going.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree on that. And one of the things about keeping going is, man, we keep going with these promos, and I gotta say this: I'm looking forward to seeing what you and Travis bring to the table. Because here's the thing: you and Travis have never gone one on one. The only interaction that we've seen with yourself and Travis was the Fatal Four Way from Promo Slam last year with myself, you, Travis, and the Butcher. So you two have never gone one on one. Travis has been wanting this. You were in the promo league. It was originally supposed to be 2 out of 3 falls, but due to circumstances, now we have the bout. It was one on one at Trivia Takeover with a lot going on the line, moving up and down in the promo league rankings. What can we expect on that front between yourself and Travis the Walker Anderson?
Yeah, given the circumstances of things, we did decide to just do this match and kind of make it a spectacle, and you know, we're gonna do our best to make it a show stealer. I don't know if it'll compare to what me and yourself did last year, but we definitely want to be in that ballpark.
God dang, man, you bring up that, and it's one of those things where I really enjoyed what we did last year, and I think what was funny about this last time, and to pull the curtain back a little bit, like you and I were like, I think you even said it to me, let's show them why we're the main event of this fucking show, and I'm like, yeah, man, we got to entertain because I mean, it's one of those things where yes, it was Phoenix and I for the last time, sort of, and we'll get to that in a minute, but it's also one of those things where you and I were the King of the Mic final. Like you, I'll be honest with you. We'll talk about King of the Mic first, and we'll talk about the promo climaxes. It's one of those things where I was coming from a place where people had thought no chance of me winning. And well, you know what it is too. And I'm just going to put this out there right now. And I know I'm rambling as we're shooting the breeze here, but people, you want to talk about, and Amir said this. I mean, the one asterisk behind your reign as promo champ was LFC, and this is where I defute that and say, look, I got a fan base. I work with a lot of beautiful people. I work with a lot of great talent and personnel. I have a fan base, but what you also got out of that was LFC not just promoting my bouts, but promoting the promo league, the King of the Mic, whatever tournament that we did. So it gets eyes on the product. So it's a win-win situation. So for those that say the only reason I was the promo champion was because of LFC, shut the fuck up. So anyway, because I think you, out of anybody, knows that I put my hard work into that. If our King of the Mic bout was any indication, I think you were even the one that said, "Dude, that was one of my favorite promos I've ever cut against me." Because I told you had a mangina, you're growing some ovaries. Like I just freaking went buck wild on you, and
Yeah.
that's why I said to you, and that's why I love where the shovel stuff came in because I was saying, I'm like, just bury me softly because we were doing the whole Rusev thing because the whole Undertaker Rusev, the bury me softly tweet, which was hilarious. So we were incorporating a lot of our wrestling surroundings. But I got to say this to you: is that still one of your favorite promos to be cut on you?
Yeah, I think it is. I haven't been as active as I was in the last couple of years. It's actually been 5 months since my last promo, which was Showdown in the Shadows 2 with my sister, the Demoness, Chris, Whole, Soul, all of that good stuff. Um, but yeah, I think that's definitely one of, if not my favorite promo that's ever been cut against me.
Yeah, thank you, man. Like I said, it's one of those things where, like, well, what we did at King of the Mic, and I'm going to say this right now. I was watching back our old promo from when you debuted the Statman on me in the promo climax, and then we get to King of the Mic, and then we get to the promo climax too. Now I got to ask you, out of the three, is the King of the Mic one your favorite? Because the first one was the Statman, but the third one, man, I mean, you did a quick one, but man, I had my Hate Me Now in the background, the title around my shoulder, I had the button-down shirt, and I just went buck wild on that too, with the the guitar, with the shovel burying you behind my house, and just the whole nine that I did at the end there, also taunting Andre Corbeil. So it's one of those things where, would you say the King of the Mic was the best one out of our three series there, out of the triple threat of promos that we've done against one another, or did you also enjoy the promo Climax 2 one as well?
I think that was the best one. I mean, our three bouts, I actually liked them all. Especially the Statman one, since that was kind of the debut, and that one actually also got me a promo of the year award. Um, but just a fun fact about the Statman promo. For those that don't know, the Statman, his name is John Paul Larkin. So I figured, why not, debut Statman character versus Michael Larkin, kind of a little correlation, if you will. And nobody really picked up on it except you. You were the only one that picked up on it. And I remember we were talking, and you kind of you told me that, and I was just like, how the fuck does he know that?
I'm
Who?
a I'm a stat man, not a scat man. I'm Robert Davis. Do 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 dee, do 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 da. It's one of those things where, okay, like I was a fan of the I Love the '90s series on VH1, and they were talking about, because in the mid '90s, the scat man, but then
Right.
it's one of those things where, here's a funny fact of how I knew that. Remember, the music choice channels that are like in the 800s, where you get like all different music, like hit lists from rap, from like
Oh
R&B.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So they have the facts in the on the side. It's like a did you know kind of deal, and then all of a sudden it comes up. Scatman's real name is John Paul Larkin, so that's how I knew. I got to thank Music Choice for knowing that fact. So, and I always like that song, and I think my buddy Steve Nicoforo, my best friend there, one half of the Steve and Mike show, he was a fan of that song, and we just would always go beat up and because I'm a scat man, and then I just remixed it because Scatman and Statman and you. But yeah, no, I thought that was great. Yeah, but I was the only one, I guess, to really pick up on that, because then again, like, I absorb shit like a sponge, and I'm not tooting my own horn here, but man, when you're around some great stuff like pop culture and stuff, what goes into your mind and what really interests you, and it's interesting, the little nuances that people know and are really fascinated by.
Yeah, and at least I can say there's actually one other person in the world that I know personally who knows the Scatman's real name.
Hell to the yeah, bro. But no, I think for me, like, again, we're both music lovers, and it's one of those things where with promos, we're kind of like music. Like, everybody has a different taste, everybody has a different genre. And like I said, I remember going into the first promo slam, and here's the funny part about it. With the promo climax from Promo Slam, excuse me, 2018 was the only Max special where we did not have a guest at that Promo Slam. So I had no knowledge title defense, and Daz is like, okay, you want to answer a couple questions to qualify for this? And I'm like, sure. And of course, I qualified, and then I go into promo climax. And here's the thing, I knew none of this because I was not in RWT at the time. I came in late. Like, when I heard first about Phoenix Jericho when they were talking about us on the show, I'm like, do I have to whip the Phoenix's ass? But then again, it's not our Phoenix. It was a different Phoenix, because again, the only Phoenix I know is our Phoenix. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like Craig. And it wasn't, of course. But yeah, I had no idea about this Phoenix Jericho until you told me about it. Was he that bad of a cat?
Oh, he was a character, man. Something else.
That, well, what exactly? I forgot what the hell. I think Amir's told me this before. I'm like, was he just negative? Was he just a dickhead, or was he like spreading comments, or was he thought he was the shit?
Yeah, yeah. He yeah, he was just balls to the walls, something else character, man.
Jesus.
He believed his own hype so hard.
God damn, it's one of those things where, there's always one, and we'll talk about the butcher in a little bit, but there's only there's, there's always one that has to, likes to stir the pot. And I'll be honest with you, like, All right, now I'm gonna say this because since we're on the topic of the Butcher will be back in action at Trivia Takeover against Chef. And all I'm saying, baby, is that we coming hard against the motherfucking Butcher. I gotta ask you about Chef as we're bouncing around. We'll get back to the promo climax in a second. But what do you think about the motherfucking Chef making his Max Wrestling motherfucking special at debut against the Butcher? It's a promo league match, baby. 40 deuces, baby. Heel Team 6 all day, the motherfucking building. Yeah. What are you looking forward to seeing what the Chef does?
Hey, yo, all I'm saying, no, I think Chef's great, man. I think he definitely has the mind, the gift of gab, because he's from Queens. He reps his city.
I rep
Um,
my city.
I think this is definitely the place for him, and I think once he gets a little more comfortable, he's definitely going to be a shining star inside of what we're doing here.
I think it's one of those things where I'm like, it's him. You know what I'm saying? Like, besides the Queens, my city, I rep my city. Like, again, as a New Yorker who's been to Queens, like that's the lifestyle, that's the culture, and that's Chef to the fullest, and that's why I like him because he's just being himself. I mean, he already had two bouts before the Butcher, which I enjoyed the bouts with Phoenix and Travis. I know Chef is on the move, and he rushed together to put the one against Travis, and Travis did great with the whole Joker mask and the snake, the imagery standpoint of that. But I gotta say, it's one of those things where Chef is one to look out for. Whether he wins or loses, it's one of those things where he's a guy that can talk. He's got that presence about him, and he's someone that really you can be entertained by. I mean, he just has that presence where you can walk into a room and he could just be himself and put it out there, baby. And it's one of those things where you're kind of drawn to him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's just kind of the thing. Once you kind of get into the groove and you understand that this is more about being yourself as opposed to, I guess, kind of not being yourself, that you'll find success, and then you can find yourself being entertaining, and you find yourself having more fun, I guess.
Of course. And I mean, with Butcher, his opponent, like the last time we saw Butcher was at Promo Mania. And here's what kind of irked me in a way. Like, I'm kind of glad that things are great now between him and Amir, which is true because, again, both of them are my friends, they're my buddies. But it's one of those things like we're expecting, like, we're going to get a great promo bout. And then it's just 30 seconds. And like I said, I'm glad that they rectified the situation. But I was expecting a build, a promo bout, what have you. And then we get 30 minutes of, Barney, I love you. You love me for 30 minutes, if that makes sense.
It would almost appear we were on a mountain of sorts, a Brokeback Mountain, if you will.
Yeah. I'm just going to say this right now. It wasn't me and Veronica are going to make love on top of a mountain. We're going to get on top of a mountain. It wasn't that type of mountain, but yes, it was. It was a very mountain that was Brokeback. Man, they wish they could quit each other. But in all seriousness, I'm glad that they patched things up. And I'm gonna say this right now, and I said it in my promo with Moses. Like, I love Travis's promo, and I told him this afterwards. It could have gone on away with him and Nikola, but I'm going to say this right now again, not to toot my own horn, but toot toot. I think the best bout and the match that should have closed the show was myself in the shape. And now, what are your thoughts on the Promo Mania card? And do you agree with my sentiments, with my ego, if you will?
100%. Um, it's been a couple of months now, but like I am still very, very surprised in what we saw with the shape. Like, I mean, I would have never guessed that he had that in him, and boy, did he have it in him. Like, the shape, he should be writing for somebody. Some of these guys that can't talk worth the bunk in the business right now, like the shape, should be should be writing promos.
It's one of those deal where, man, like Travis and Nikla, that it's like it takes two to tango. And again, great bout. Even though, like I said, I do my cockiness and ego, but all kidding aside, it's one of those things where you have two people that when it takes two to tango. And I equate this with you and I equate this with Travis and Nikla, Butcher and Amir, myself in the shape and the Demoness. Is one of those things where you got people where it takes two to tango to tell a great story, and I think we've all done that. And I also look at you from when you first were in the promo climax with Ted P. De Niro and talking about, bitches and bitch ass hoes and, flaming Doritos and throwing your phone and pretty much was like, I got no pants. I got no shirt. I got no pants. Wearing only Chucks because we don't give a fuck. And
Fuck
I'm like,
yeah.
What? You know what it is too, and I'll be honest with you. I laughed at that because Butcher is well known for doing promos and just going live with no shirt on. You know what I'm saying? I know what you guys are thinking. I'm very hairy, but shaved. It's like that scene from the other guys with Mark Will Ferrell, but the opposite. But it's one of those things where, like, I enjoyed it. Here's the thing: I've always said, why aren't you promo champion? Because, like I say, you talk about your bouts with Ted Pitanero there and Tony Kirkendall. Then we see your bouts with Amir, and we see your bouts with oh my goodness, there's Daniel Crimmins, Molly Lynn, everybody that you've gone through. And I gotta say this right now, like your growth from the promo climax to the King of the Mic to promo climax too. I mean, my God, man, you pretty much made Daniel Crimmins your bitch. You pretty much told Zach Herring that he's a piece of shit right out the gate. Like I gotta say that the transition from where you were in 2018 and 2019 and the bout even at Podcast Promo Rumble 5, which I'll even say that stole the show. I thought Travis and Moses was good, but you and Nicola from your first bout in the promo climax to up to that point, like y'all have just been killing it. And now you two are an alliance, brother, sister, holy alliance. You got the Black Hearts. You know what I'm saying, man? So, I mean, it's one of those things, man, just to see the progression of your character and many characters that we've seen come through the ranks.
Oh yeah, it's definitely been something. Even if you go back a little further, when I first joined RWT and the promos that I would cut in there, I actually went back and watched the first promo I ever cut, and it was so cringy. I was just like, how in the fuck did I think this was actually good?
uh, it's one of those things too, or like I would look back at, like I said, I've oftenly admitted I sucked in the promo climax 2018. Like I could be hard on myself, and I look bad on that, and I'm like, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but I'm like, I could have done better. You know what I'm saying? But you're also in the mindset of it's just like, you know what? I'm just doing this just to do it. And like I said, I don't know you guys. Now that I know you guys, I love you guys. Like I'll be honest with you, I don't know why everybody hated Teddy in the 2018. I mean, Teddy is the original heel, but like Teddy's like a cool ass guy. He's very chill. He's very nice. So it's just like, yeah. And I know Teddy. And here's the thing: we talk about like Teddy's gone through hardships. You know what I'm saying, with the passing of his father. And I'm like, I got to approach this in a way where I'm not, I can't be very colorful, if you will, with my colorful vernacular. So I'm like, we got to make this fun. So I kind of tapped up because I remember 2018, I did the shimmy, shimmy, y'all,
Yeah.
be with him. And then you go into 2019, and then I'm playing some of my own SoundCloud things, which was actually a joke. Did I ever tell you this story, by the way? So it's one of those things like where I first created SoundCloud.com/MC Larkin 92. It was one of those things where like every rapper was on it and everybody thought they were hot shit because look at me, I'm a rapper, I'm on SoundCloud. Hey, look at me, everybody, I'm a rapper on SoundCloud. So I would make fun of it, and I knew I couldn't rap worth a damn, so I was kind of like poking fun at myself and poking fun of the people that would go on SoundCloud and rap. But it turned out to be a platform for my podcasts and to see where that's gone. But I digress. So that's where that story came from. But it's one of the things where, like, you got to have fun with it. I don't aim to be malicious. I know you don't aim to be malicious, except if your name is Daniel Crimmins. We'll get to Daniel Crimmins in a minute. And I love you, Dan. It's one of those things where it's just you have to have fun with it. That's the overall end game of it. And I think you have. I mean, I think, would you say, like, from promo climax to promo climax 2, I would say even though promo climax 2 was a clusterfuck, it was would you say it was better than the first promo climax in 2018?
I'm kind of indifferent to it, and clusterfuck would kind of be an understatement at this point.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy both promo climaxes. Because we got to see a different cast of characters, sort of. Um, even though two was just kind of a hot dumpster fire at certain points.
Oh, goodness, yes. You know what it is too, man? When you had Dave Burnham in the first one from our Ruthless Aggression Era podcast, and then you got Mexican Burnham, and then you got
Mexican. I don't
Black
know.
Burnham. Oh man! And then just to see everybody's promos. And here's the thing: okay? Now I don't think if you realize this, I have to find this to you. So uh what was I gonna say? Oh, bring me back. There we go. So I got a victory over Ted P. Dinero in the first one. I'm gonna be honest with you, because Teddy was so hated, I was kind of not shocked that I won, which again I still didn't understand, but okay, he was just telling a story, playing a character, even though. But anyway, I digress. Poor Teddy.
I think that year he really lived up to his moniker of the
He
one
did.
true heel.
He
My
did.
God, he was just getting under everybody's fucking skin.
But he's the man, though. I love that man.
Oh my gosh, he's good, people.
So, and then I was supposed to actually face Tony Kirkendall, and Daz never even gave me the bye. So technically speaking, I actually won. My record in the first promo climax, thinking back of it, was 2-2. I beat Teddy, and then I got a bye win over Tony Kirkendall, and I got to find the promo. It's just me, because you know how Tony would do, and Tony's good people too, but you know how Tony would do the lives and his face would be like really up to the camera, and he sounds like he was chewing on something.
Yeah, yeah.
I put muffins in my mouth and I started eating blueberry muffins, the little bite muffins, and then I was chewing and then started talking. So I got to find that promo and take that up and see if I can send it to you. But I was making fun of Tony Kirkendall, and then Daz goes, "Oh yeah, well, you get the bye. I just forgot to announce it." I'm like, "Thanks." Thanks a lot. So technically speaking, I got a bye one over Tony, and the only people I lost to in the first one was you and Amir, which Amir is kind of in the same boat I am with the Demoness, because once you survive hell and the depths of hell and not getting axed and 40 waxed Lizzie Borden style by our beloved Demoness, like I don't want to go back into that. And then once Amir can finally say he has a decisive victory over me, and I've been teasing, as you saw in the promo, about with Amir and I, it's just kind of like, let's keep those victories. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Fun fact, and I was actually talking to Nico about this the other day. She let everybody else go except me. She kept me in the depths of hell, so I'm in the depths of hell still, while she let all of you others go.
Well, y'all are like united though now, so which is great, because I mean we saw the build up and the teaming up with you and her, with Travis and Corey and the whole nine there, which again, great storytelling. And then it's one of those things where like a part three has to happen, and it could happen now that you're in the promo league. So I mean, like the sky's the limit for those.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've been talking about the possibility of a part three. I mean, we definitely both want to do it. Just when the time is right, I guess would be the next determining factor. But it's been fun, the dynamic that we share, the dynamic of demons, if you will. It's been a lot of fun, and ever since she came into the promo league, my first thought was always, we're gonna do some really cool stuff together, and if somehow we could form a dynamic and maybe form like a faction or a stable or whatever, um, it'll be really great. You know, they're just kind of throwing it out there. We aren't the only two in the Black Hearts. There's actually a lot more of us, so beware.
Oh yes, definitely beware. What's interesting is like we have the Black Hearts Alliance here, and we get to see a lot of other dark people in here. Not dark people. What I mean by that is like dark personalities. Get your mind out of the gutters, people. So it's one of those things, dark entities, if you will. There's better verbiage for that. Anyway, I digress. It's one of those things where you got a guy like Mike Jolly, who we've seen go against Cypher and Brittany Savage now. Is Mike Jolly a perfect fit for the Blackhearts, man? Because I'll be honest, I enjoyed his dark side and pretty much kind of like his deranged character, kind of like a Cactus Jack Manson, if you will, like a little Charles Manson vibes, and pretty much telling Brittany, who she is. I know this Savage. And here's what I like, because he mentioned, oh my goodness, the dude from Portland, that guy that he was saying, God bless his soul to. Because for a lot of people that don't know, Dutch Savage and Mike grew up in Portland, and Portland's a very big wrestling city. So I thought that was a nice little homage. But yeah, Mike's overall character is very interesting. I think he would fit very well in the Black Arts.
Yeah, when I first saw his first promo, the first thing I ever thought of was like Cactus Jack, that Cactus Jack that was kind of brooding from like WCW days.
Yep.
That was like one of my absolute favorite wrestlers back in the day. And fun fact, I don't know if you know this or not, but the whole, bang bang thing, he actually told the story about how he came up with that. They were making towns, if you will. They were riding into towns, and the B-52 song, Love Shack.
Yep.
So that was on the radio one day, and it got to the part of the song where it's bang bang on the door, baby. So he just kind of thought, okay, I'll just take the bang bang and leave the rest of it off, and the rest is history.
So I'm guessing you watched the WWE Untold with Triple H and Mick Foley talking about their feud.
Was that where I saw it?
Yes.
I forget where I saw it, but I think that might have been I think I might have read it in a Twitter post.
Okay.
I
Well,
thought I
he
thought
also
that was the coolest thing ever.
he also talked about on WWE Untold. If you've not seen WWE Untold, people, Triple H and Mick Foley talked about their two matches from Royal Rumble 2000, No Way Out 2000. It's a must to watch. You know what I'm saying? Because again, when you talk about dance partners and It Takes Two to Tango, two of the greatest Hall of Famers, just going out there, and really what elevated Triple H were those matches. And I think with Mike, like, he's coming from Cypher and Brittany Savage, and I got to say, he's got the gumption, he's got the testicular fortitude, he's got the huevos, if you will, the balls to just go out there and just be dark, be sinister. And, that's who he is. It's really an extension of who Mike is. And I got to tell you something, as someone who's talked to Mike and that's also is a fellow LFC fan, a fellow podcaster, loves him some beer and IPA. He's just one of those guys that just has a mind, and he's a very smart son of a bitch. So I think he's another one to look out for. And it's one of those things, dude. Like we were talking about Chef, we were talking about Mike Jolly. We've also seen Phoenix kind of coming to his own, the demon of the Welsh Valleys. Like, I got to ask you, man, because we've seen him against Travis, we've seen him against Corey, and now we've seen him against Chef. What are your thoughts on what Phoenix is doing? He's kind of got like that Finn Balor makeup. He does the whole, welcome to my domain type of esque feel to it. What are your thoughts about what Phoenix has been doing?
I thought it's pretty great actually. It's cool to see somebody else have that kind of dark demon persona and put their own spin on it. The makeup looks great. Like if he's actually putting that on himself, I gotta give him props because that's an incredible talent right there. But just the whole sinister vibe of it all is it's really captivating at some points.
It's one of those things where, like, again, there'll probably be a time where Phoenix and I will take our feud from the knowledge realm to the promo realm, and y'all look out. It's one of those things where it's just when you look at the Phoenix and you just look at him putting the makeup in there, he doesn't get a lot of credit that he deserves. I mean, former knowledge champ, Iron Bank, and he's a co-founder of Max Wrestling. Like what him and Daz do, they're creative sons of guns, and I think it's one of those things where Phoenix, he's coming out of his shell because he's used to audio promos like him, like I was with the first promo climax in 2018. So it's one of those things where he's coming out of his shell, and I think he's another one to look out for, man. Like I said, as a judge and as not being a competitor, and this is where the Butcher and I different, as you can see, because Butcher's now in the promo league. It's one of those things where I'm just happy sitting back and taking my break and just watching what you guys are doing and actually analyzing, dissecting, deciphering, and giving the pros and cons of what I like and what I'm not. So I'm kind of in the role of helping people, which I like. And then Butcher's like, no, I want to be back in there. And I'm like, okay. But again, that's him. And there's no denying Butcher's gift of gab. So I got to ask you, is there going to be a time that we're going to see you challenging the Butcher? Is there going to be a time where those paths will cross? I mean, again, like Travis, the only time you've really gone at it with the Butcher was in the promo slam Fatal 4-Way. So I'm going to ask you, man, we're talking about people like the Butcher. Things have happened when butchers are in tournaments, but I digress. So I got I mean, controversy creates cash. It is an Eric Bischoff book, so I got to ask you, with Butcher's inception to the promo league, are you looking forward to seeing what he does? I know he lives up to his moniker, and he is who he says he is as a true heel. So, is that someone who you have your eye on? And what do you think about his inception to the promo league? Go ahead, Robert, take it away.
Well, I was kind of thinking about this last night or the other night. I don't my concept of time is kind of lost these days, as is with most people. But I think the only person that I've gone up against in the promo league right now is Emir. We had 3 rounds ourselves, but I've never had any singles bouts with 90% of the people in the promo league. So, I'm kind of excited to go up against everybody at least once. Just to kind of see what everybody can bring to the table. With the exception of Brittany Savage, of course. I've been doing this for 2 years, pretty actively up until January of this year, of course. So just to kind of see what everybody can bring to what I can do, I guess, to kind of just put on a show and just to see what we can do.
Oh, agreed, man. It's one of those things that actually you're right. As I'm looking at it, I got the promo league matches playlist here in my notes here, and also on my phone. Like I'm looking at everybody that's competed thus far, Yeah, you have not gone against anyone, and that's actually a very interesting tidbit because I mean, you're just sitting there. Actually, wait, I digress. Ted P. De Niro.
Oh yeah, Teddy. So Ted and Amir, those are the only two that I've had single matches with.
And you went Statman on Teddy too, which was great. Like I said, anytime we get to see the Statman or any one of your personas, from your Crazy Eyes, from your Collector, the whole nine, man. Like I said, you're probably one of the most creative people. Like Amir, Mister AET Wrestler, which I love so much. Well, as we him and I were talking about it, it's like, how can you not? Moses Marquez hosts a show called the Retro Rewind, and you're taking a page from the retro game, and you're pretty much taking it back to the golden age of professional wrestling that is the 1980s.
Right. I think Amir has a lot of great ideas, and I'm glad he came back. To be honest, because I know he has a lot of that creative juices to still kind of showcase what he can do, and I'm glad to see him back. I think a round four between me and him is in the cards soon, later, maybe.
Well, it's one of those things where I cannot wait for that, and I think you two are going to tear the house down like you do. And here's the funny thing about the King of the Mic one, though. Like, Amir didn't say any word in your bout and Daniel Crimmon's bout. It was still very creative. It's very interesting to see. I mean, dude's pretty much cutting a promo without saying a damn word.
Yeah, and I think he's probably the only one that can get away with that.
Yes.
Because sometimes some of us have so much to say. Sometimes nobody has to say anything at all, and that's what he did, and he won.
That he did. That he did. It's one of the things where I got to say to you, when I look at these bouts now, one name I got to mention here as I'm looking here, because we've seen Phoenix, we've seen Chef, we've seen Brittany Savage, Mike Jolly. One of the ones that is very new, that we've only seen one bout thus far, is Trippy Wolf. Now, Trippy Wolf, as an epileptic, please do not do those graphics once again. But I gotta say, I was very impressed because he's just like, yo, I got these graphics. This is how it's gonna play out. Like, yo, I'm gonna go through everybody. He's very confident, and I liked his passion. Teddy was just very funny in his promo, talking about Riff Raff's cousin, which still cracks me up. But it's one of those things where I gotta ask you about Trippy Wolf because relatively newcomer, friend of Cypher, Coriel Coulter, and I gotta ask you, what are your thoughts about what Trippy brought against Ted P. De Niro?
I thought that was very different, and kind of to your point, the graphics, those I mean they're cool and all, but I thought it was very different, and it's always good to kind of see that, to have somebody kind of bring something different to the table, because when you do this for a while, you can kind of get stagnant, and personally, I think that's kind of where I was at a point, which kind of make me stopped kind of liking this for a while. But to have fresh blood and to have them kind of bring something new, I guess, per se, I think it'll revitalize, a lot of that competitive spirit to want us to kind of branch out and do something new,
Oh,
which will all around just be good for everybody.
Oh yeah, and I think again the artistic expression. This is why I've always liked the Max Wrestling podcast because, you have people talking about professional wrestling, which is great because we get everybody's different thoughts and insights, and everything's subjective. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But with Max Wrestling, you get trivia challenges, you get promo challenges. So we add something like our unique twist to what we see on TV, and pretty much do our own flavor about it. It gives everybody a chance to get the creative juices flowing and really have fun, which is the overall end game of it.
You know what trips me out still is that we have fans. Like there's people that are legit fans of what we're doing here in promos. Like I've had people add me on Twitter because they like my promos, like not my music, not because of the tweets or whatever I post, but because they like promos that I do. I would just like, this is a fucking trip. This is cool as hell.
Okay, and you actually added to something that I will add on to, which is great. Besides the fact that Nicola's son Wraith and his teacher pretty much watches all our promos, which is awesome. Thank you. It's one of those things too where like I could say the shit about LFC and our fan base. To be honest with you, to add be cocky with it and just to shut people up that say shit. But it's one of those things where we all have a fan base in our own right. That really showcases it right there to make an example. Like people are following you on Twitter because they like your promos. Like The reason Travis the Walker Anderson won 91% to 9%, hi Moses, it's one of the things. It's because, people really enjoyed the promo. You know what I'm saying? Like Travis has his fans. We all have our own fan bases and people that really gravitate, resonate, and generate with people. So I could say that cocky line, which it is what it is. Like I have my fan base, but everybody has their own fan base. And that's what I try to, resonate with people. Like, look, not everybody, I'll be honest with you, is going to like a Mike Larkin promo just because, yeah, I like to have fun. I like to be comedic, but I can be serious. Some people are not going to like, I don't know, let's just throw a name in here. Daniel Crimmins. Some people won't like a Daniel Crimmins promo because, it is what it is. And then you have people like Amir. Some people won't like an Amir promo. It's very subjective like we see with professional wrestling, but I got to say this. There's something for everybody. Like Vince McMahon, I remember Jim Cornette talking about chocolate and vanilla. Vince McMahon uses that analogy. Some people like chocolate, some people like vanilla, so you can please people with different flavors and different aspects. So,
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. The one thing that I do like about the promo league is that there is something for everybody. While you may not like, a Robert Davis promo, you might like a chef promo, a butcher promo, but not a Daniel Crimmins one. I was gonna say Moses, but he's probably gonna get mad at us for busting his balls again. So.
Goddamn prick fox. Yes. He'll go at us. And here's the thing, Moses Marquez, we love you, but it's one of those things where you just say some shit that just makes us laugh, like Jesus Criminy and Daddy's Home, which just it still cracks me up to this day, Mr. Champa. It's one of those things, and again, Moses has come a long way. And I gotta ask you, because on the sidebar of this, and Travis makes fun of us, and we'll get back to Travis in a second, but it's one of those things where Moses just. All right, I've been enjoying our back and forth. And yes, I know we have a year, people, but we got to build to it because the general consensus is, and I've said this, I don't need to be on Promo Mania. I don't even be in there. It's because people like you can't do their job and I have to come the fuck back. So I've been very vocal and being very, passionate with our comebacks. Moses was very passionate in his promo. So I look forward to seeing what his next response is going to be to fuel the fire, as he stated, and to build to what we got next year. And I think as people, we want people to, realize that, this is like he said, the Mo versus Larkin, the Moses Larkin show at Promo Mania 6. And I think we're accomplishing on that. So I got to ask you, with what you've seen in the back and forth, are you looking forward to seeing Mike Larkin, Moses Marquez at Promo Mania 6?
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, there's a lot of time, and I think time is it's either going to be a benefit or it's going to kind of I don't know what's the word here, but I think it's just going to be on somebody's side, because there is so much time between now and then that Moses is going to have a chance to refine his character and kind of work out the kinks. And whereas, you've got all this time to just absolutely go buck wild and figure out what you're going to do against him. So I think that's definitely going to be a show stealer next year.
Thank you. It's one of the things where, I'm also viewing it not just as a judge, but also as a fellow competitor who is one of the longest reigning promo champions currently. Uh, I'll be honest with you, as someone who was, and I'm going to say this right now, and I love Amir to death, but I think my run from the promo climax to the bout with Travis, and I'll be honest with you, a little tidbit here. It's one of the things where Travis, which we'll get into his reign in a second, but Travis was kind of like, about it because he wasn't really feeling it. He was just going to step back because he was even admitted he really didn't give a shit doing that promo, which was very cool with the "I will rise with the sword." Me, I had some things, I was going to describe myself like a measure of a man, Elton John style, Rocky Five. That's a measure of a man type of deal. And just go buck wild as I do. But it's one of the things where him and I have such great chemistry with each other that win or lose, I knew I was going to kill it regardless. And I can make you invest in 15 minutes. That's all I'm saying, baby. So I also looked at it like also from another standpoint, because we're going around Christmas time, right? And we do the maxis and the whole nine. Like Phoenix beat me, okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm competitive, but I got over that because, again, Phoenix has been chasing me for 3 years, everybody. So for the fact that Phoenix finally won, I was very happy to see that happen. And it's one of those things where it's just like, that was the one time in Max Wrestling history and I'll say it right here, and if you want me to go more into it when I do it in the hot seat with Daz for the future, it's one of those things where I kind of wanted to just say no and kind of like refuse to do it. And what I mean by that is like, we're going around Christmas time. One of the ideas I had was you look at like the indies. There was this one indie in New Jersey that did a thing where when you think of Christmas, what do you think of, Robert? The season of giving, right?
Season of giving, yes, sir.
So I was just thinking maybe why don't I just, as a present, a Christmas present, give Travis the Walker Anderson the promo championship? But I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that because it's just like for me as a professional, I'm just like, you know what? If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go out just kind of like Hanny. And it's not like Shawn Michaels and Triple H where Shawn Michaels pretty much laid down at Christmas '97 to give Triple H the European title. I didn't want it to be like that, but then it's also like you're around Christmas time and you're traveling, and I'm like, I really don't want to do this, but it's like, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway because I mean, I'm not the one who wants to cause drama and really start a shitstorm for no reason. Like, just get out the way and then, win, win, lose, lose. And then I lost, and then Travis had his reign. This is where I lead into the question because the chemistry that we had, I loved. He's one of my favorite opponents, even though we dog him like we do Moses Marquez and everybody. We're all friends at the end of the day, and it's all about having fun and the camaraderie of it. But I got to ask you, Travis the Walker Anderson, he goes into podcast promo number 5 against Moses Marquez, has the bout with the Demoness. Come to caress, take your soul, put you in a hole at Promo Mania. It's a short run, as right now he's the shortest reigning champion. He's come back in a big way from his bouts with Amir, the Phoenix, with Chef, with everything and Brittany Savage, and what Travis the Walker Anderson has done since losing the Promo Championship. I wanted to ask you about your thoughts about Travis the Walker Anderson's reign as Promo Champion. Since you are his opponent going to Trivia Takeover, I wanted to ask you about his reign as the Promo Champion, the 4th Promo Champion, and since its resurgence in Max Wrestling history. Go ahead.
One thing, I could always appreciate about Travis is, he's a workhorse. He says what he believes. He believes what he says. And that's honestly such a rare commodity these days, I think. He said he was going to get that title, and he got it. It probably took him a little longer than he wanted to, but he got it. He had to go through a few things to get it, but he got it. That's ultimately what it was about. Whether he held the belt one day or 102 days, at the end of the day, he was still a champion. But, breaking kayfabe there, he was the shortest reigning champion, and he might as well have just handed that belt over to my sister, the Demoness.
Whew, okay, strong words, and it's one of those things where so pretty much what you're saying, if I can kind of like incorporate that, you're saying it's kind of like the Dean Ambrose reign in 2016. He has this feel good moment. He wins the Money in the Bank by cashing in on Seth Rollins. He has an okay match with Dolph Ziggler, and then he loses it to AJ Styles. So are you pretty much comparing the Demoness to AJ Styles? They don't want none. They don't want none.
Bingo.
Bingo. Okay. But yeah, it's one of those things where like he had a great chase, and he did. He had to go through Courtney Summers. He had to go through Amir to get his spot at Promo Slam. Now I got to ask you. All right. Now this is the tough questions coming in. It's one of those things where like I enjoyed our Fatal 4-Way, and you were the straight shooter in that one. But is there a part of you that is just like, all right, like we did the King of the Mic, I lost, and it should have just been myself and Butcher last year at Promo Slam. Is there a part of you that feels that?
Yeah. I really think it kind of cheapened the whole King of the Mic final. Like, I lost. Like, that should have been the end of it. Like, what was the whole point of it?
Well, it's one of those things where I love Travis's passion going through that, and the Butcher as the promo champion. Yes. So it's one of those things where Butcher's the promo champ, and we'll tease him about this, about him having the Brock Lesnar reign. Now I know he couldn't help it because of the fact of stuff that's in between and the way the specials were, and he didn't have a chance to defend against August, and we had a tournament going on. But we will also say and tease Butcher on the fact that he was the first promo champion to lose in his first ever title defense of the promo, and we'll always tease him about that. But it's one of those things where, with the situation being it was what it was, I think we made the most out of it because we've never really had a fatal 4-way for the promo championship. And I think each and every one of us looked to steal the show. And I think each and every one of us wanted to put that great foot forward and just have an entertaining bout. So, I mean, it all worked out in a way in the long run, right?
Yeah, I think it definitely did. I mean, it was still cool to be able to do a fatal four way. But if I could be honest about that promo, my promo at least, like I did not give a shit. I just put something together real quick and threw it out there, which kind of looking back on it, I shouldn't have done that. I probably should have put a little more effort into it, but the whole idea of a fatal four way was kind of cool in hindsight. But I mean, to me, it kind of took away from King of the Mic and the great run that the King of the Mic was.
And again, it was the no fucks given attitude, which again I could tell as you were cutting that promo, but it was cool for what you did. I mean, you make the most of what you do. Sometimes you got to be straight to the point with, and that's what I look at as a judge, because a lot of the promos that win, are very straight to the point promos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
And I know you're a fan of the straight to the point promos, and I mean, it's one of those things where like you could just talk and talk and talk, but do you have an end game as you just talk? And that's why I used to tease Travis with that. We still because I mean, dude, you're just coming right out of the gate with the zingers. Like you got to lead up to the zingers. I mean, you don't just start off with "I'm sick of motherfucking tired of this. It's about fucking time we're here at Promo Slam. God damn it!" And I'm just like, okay, that's great, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, why are you going right out there with the Tourette syndrome and then going through it? You know what I'm saying? And I would joke about that. But no, it's like, dude, it's like I'm watching the franchise Shane Douglas and ECW because it's the cheap heat. Like you have to curse in like every goddamn promo. Here's the funny part about it, and because I was teasing him, and like I said, I love him to death. He's a great guy. He's a great father. He's a great son of a bitch. But it's one of those things where I'm like, and I was teasing him about it. Then he texts me right after the promo, and he goes, "See, I didn't curse in my promo," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I watched it. I watched it. We had a good laugh about it." But like I said, man, I think that's great. You know what I'm saying? Like he gets to be pushed to his levels, and he started off promo league strong with Amir. They both did. And even like I said, I love the tearing off of the shirt for RWT to Max, and just because he's taking over Max right now, he's killing it. And I think not just from a promo standpoint, I think he's kind of coming into his own. I mean, he's doing the retro rewind with Moses. He's doing this thing on Max. Like he's kind of coming into his own with podcasting. He's finding his niche. He's finding his voice, which I think is very cool on that front because at the end of the day, it's a win-win, and you gain confidence and you gain, the overall ability and trust in yourself to get the job done.
Right, and honestly, it's been fun to listen to him on Max and the other podcast cause like you said, he's coming to his own. He's finding his voice, which I think is very important. Which, like you said, you start to build confidence and you kind of start to feel better, which I think in turn is it's only going to benefit him. And I think it has very much to this point. He's out there just killing it on Max and all the stuff that he's been doing. He's definitely got a lot on his plate right now, and he's still able to do everything that he needs to do. So I think that's great for him and what he's doing. He's only just going to get better in time, and maybe he will be the two-time promo champion at some point.
I
think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that he will be the two-time promo champ in the future, and it's a lot of them are, man. There's a lot of people that have the chance to gain the promo championship and become the promo championship. Like the odds are good, is what I'll say. That the odds are good, the possibilities are endless. And I gotta say, since you said that other podcast, you're just that's how you think about Moses Marquez's Retro Rewind. It's just that other podcast. I see what you did there.
He's probably gonna be mad at me again and again and again.
And
So it's my fault. He's the top 9%. So
okay, all right. Yeah, he'll probably be mad. I love him. All right, actually, no, I should say that I love everybody in the promo league except Moses Marquez. I'm just kidding. Oh my goodness. Anyway, speaking of Moses Marquez, current number one contender. I enjoyed the bout with Amir El Jefe. We've talked about him coming to his fruition. I look forward to seeing if he can still be the number one contender after this next bout between Brittany and Mike Jolly and Brittany and Corey. Now, I got to ask you, Corey's another one. Cypher, he's only had 4 promos. Ted Pitanero podcast promo number 5, the Max Wrestling Anniversary Show against the Demon S, number one contender, Mike Jolly, and now the Phoenix. And then coming up, we got Brittany Savage. So what are your thoughts about Corey and he's, again, relatively newcomer, but again, already 4 promos in, and he's doing his thing. The last promo, he was driving, riding dirty. He's in the whip, as they say, but he was not nay-naying. Here's the thing where I appreciate that, because you see a lot of that in rap videos. They're driving, they're in the whip, driving a church, Ain't nobody does like just like me. I'm just so fresh, so fresh and so clean. Stumbled a little bit on that, but I got it back. So I appreciated that as someone who's a fan of music and the rap genre. I think he kind of did his thing, which is cool. I mean, it kind of looked a little rushed because he was driving home, and he even said to me, he's like, "It's not one of my best." I'm like, "But I didn't think it was bad. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was okay." But I mean, I think he's coming to his own. He's only had 4 promos, man.
Yeah, I think as a relatively newcomer, as he's still trying to figure out his character and his flow of things, I think once he does kind of get his footing and finds flow, he's gonna be on fire. Um, I think once he does find that flow, he's gonna take off.
Agreed 100%. What do you think he's going to do? What can you expect? Excuse me, from him and Brittany Savage coming up. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. There's definitely a lot of pressure there because if he loses, Brittany's the new number one contender. So
Yeah.
that'll definitely be something. I mean, I definitely think he has a lot to work with. My favorite one so far was the promo he did against the Demoness.
Yep.
The contrast of light and dark was something really cool that I don't think we've seen, considering all the dark image characters that we do have here. I don't think anybody's ever thought to go that avenue, and I'm kind of glad he did because that was something different, kind of fresh. Um, it's kind of reminiscent of Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, dark versus light kind of deal, which was kind of cool.
Well, Phoenix stole the line. I mean, sometimes it's hell trying to get to heaven. And that's why I love Phoenix. He got brownie points for that because he's such an Undertaker mark. But yeah, no, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where I've always enjoyed the storytelling in that promo. And I think it really contrasted with Nicola and Cypher, man. So yeah, that's the promo league as we're talking. I'm talking about the evolution of promos from the climaxes into King of the Mic and Robert Davis as a whole, who is just going to keep growing and growing and growing. And by the way, one other thing I got to mention before we close this out, I got to say this to you, sir. It was great to take this trip down memory lane to talk about your promos and what you have coming up, which we'll touch upon in a second here. But like I said, it's always a pleasure working with you. So I got to say thank you.
Oh man, thank you. These are always fun. I can't believe it's only been an hour and 4 minutes and 31 seconds. It feels like we've only been talking for about 20 minutes here.
It's no worries, man. Like I said, we covered a lot, and it's just two guys here that are genuine friends that shoot the breeze and have a fun conversation. Now, speaking of having fun conversations and fun promos, there's already a bout announced for those that saw the post-to-post bout that we saw in there with the Shape and the Demoness at Promo Slam in August. The next event after Tribute Takeover for Max, we will see the Shape versus Travis the Walker Anderson. Are you excited for that?
I'm excited for that. I've the shape got me. So I'm very excited to see what he does, and to kind of see how Travis can kind of stack up against what the shape has going on.
I cannot wait. I'm hooked. I'm invested. And another one I'm going to say here is, all right, people. So before we get myself and Moses Marquez next year at Promo Mania, and we're going to do some stuff to build this up, and he'll be on In the Hot Seat soon. But right now, there is a matchup on the Countdown show of Promo Slam, and it is a special judge versus judge exhibition. As yours truly, the former promo champion, knowledge champion, current Iron Bank winner, Mike Larkin, goes head to head with Daniel Crimmins. Now, this bout did not happen in the promo climax because Dan left the tournament early, so we all got a bye against Daniel Crimmins after you took him out in the second bout in the promo climax too. So I got to ask you your thoughts of the countdown bout with yours truly against Daniel Crimmins. Go ahead.
Well, first and foremost, Dan, if you are listening, sorry. Yeah, I did go kind of hard on our bout. I actually watched it back last night, and I was just kind of like, "Damn, did I have to go that hard?" Not really, but I did. But I think that'll be different if Dan has had some time off from promos, so to see if he can bring something to the table, what is kind of intriguing. He's had all this time to kind of sit and stir and kind of stew and kind of think, if you will. So to see what he might bring is kind of compelling.
It's one of those things with Daniel Crimmins, and yes, his track record isn't the best. He's only had one win. So it's one of those things where yes, he has been watching and he has been hearing what I'm saying because I've been shit talking to him. So I'm gonna say this to Daniel Crimmins. Daniel Crimmins, forget your bouts in the past with Robert Davis, The Butcher, Dave Burnham, Moni Lynn, Emir Blackbane Costello. This is the promo of your life. Much as Moses Marquez, this is the promo of his life next year at Promo Mania. So I expect great things because I can't have a promo against myself. Boom.
There you go.
So, and lastly, I got to say this. So before I have you promote, actually, you know what? Let me have you promote the social medias first. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go ahead, Robert, where everybody can follow you and in your group.
All right, here we go. Instagram, that's rdeezer_1. Facebook is RobertD85. Twitter, at RobbieD427. My band's Consuming Fire. Instagram is Consuming Fire_638. Facebook, same handle. Instagram, Grave to Fire _638, and Facebook is the same handle. I actually wrote them down this time, so I don't know if the last show we did I gave the right one. So there it is.
I put it in the description, kid. I got
you. There you go. Good looking.
But in all seriousness, follow those links. Robert, I said, besides being promo wise, you're a great musician, and there you got a lot of great groups, got great bands there with what you're doing. So I got to give you much love again on the music front.
Oh, thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
You're very welcome. And number 2, I guess to close it out, do you have any final words for your opponent at Trivia Takeover, that being Travis the Walker Anderson?
Travis the Walker Anderson, I know you're listening. I know you're watching. I know you're waiting. Be ready.
That'll conclude this edition of In the Hot Seat. For Robert Davis, my name is Mike Larkin. We'll talk to you in the next episode. Thank you, guys. Have a great week.